I honestly don't know how to begin this video because it is going to be such a freaking mess. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today I want to talk about Cyberpunk 2077, but specifically the anger around it. The fact that this might be one of the most hated games of all time. It's something that's just in such a broken state that now maybe millions of people are trying to get refunds. There's been so much freaking hype and disappointment and conversation, and people are wondering, can the game even be fixed? Does it need to get the No Man's Sky treatment? Now, I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video, but let's break down the facts, the timeline, and I want to talk about the fact that pretty much everybody is in rage mode, including the developers themselves. Some people in management seem to hate you for even complaining about the game. Now let's start off by talking about this. Over the course of the last 24 hours, they have been seriously rushing out a series of hot fixes. As you can see, this is now Hot Fix 5. These are like little tiny updates that are made to try and fix some of the most glaring issues to the game, because make no mistake, as much as I enjoyed traveling around Night City, there are sections of it that are downright broken. And so this was made to try and smooth over the quests that don't function, the NPCs that are falling into the ground, the cars that keep exploding. Like, the game is still in such a freaking rough state. Now, I've actually been doing something because I have finished the game on Xbox and PlayStation 5. What I decided to do is I've been trying to install and test these patches. They're not doing anything. Like, straight up, these are the most minor things. I'm still running into glitches constantly. Like, it's just insane. Before we even go any further, I think this game will be done someday. I do think that the developers know what they're doing. They're passionate, but in its current state, this game is very, very far from finished. This is a very raw, early access experience in certain aspects. And I think that Sony definitely agrees with us. So a couple days ago, obviously the crazy thing was the fact that Sony has now delisted the game. It's been taken forcefully off their storefront. You cannot purchase the game digitally on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 at all. And if for some reason you did already, you can now get a full refund. Now, what happened yesterday that kind of fascinated me is that yesterday I decided to take the day away from YouTube. I kind of just hung out with my friends and played some games online and stuff. And while I was just chilling, a lot of you guys sent me this thing, which was this. Xbox has decided not to delist the game. Basically, if you actually purchase this game on Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, it is still on their storefront. And if you did purchase it already, they're providing full refunds immediately, no questions asked. But what's fascinating to me is that Microsoft actually decided to do something, which is put a warning on the storefront itself. Basically, a lot of you guys sent me this picture that if you go to the Xbox store and say, I want to buy Cyberpunk, it says, warning, the game might suck. I have never seen a console maker ever in my life have to warn you against buying a game. All of this is absolutely insane and is definitely unprecedented, but what's really kind of fascinating to me now is the reaction to this. There's almost sort of a rage that's been building about this game, including the fact that some people inside of Cyberpunk's development team are extremely pissed off. Now, there's two sides of this, and I do want to look at both sides, but basically what's happened is clearly the management, the people at the top of Cyberpunk, these people are mad at you. They're mad at Sony. They're mad at anybody who's trying to basically get upset for the fact that they got scammed in their own way. But I want to also look at the fact that this just came out a couple hours ago. It's very, very fascinating to me. Cyberpunk 2077 devs reportedly fire hostile questions at management. Now, this was leaked by Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. This is like a reposting of it over on Pure Xbox. And I like the fact that they just copy and pasted this statement here because I feel like it is incredibly important to kind of get to the meat of what's going wrong. One employee asked the board why it said in January that the game was complete and playable when it wasn't true, to which the board answered that it would take responsibility. Literally, this is the developers, the people who are working on the game, demanding to their bosses to tell them, why did you lie about the game? Why are you out here putting out commercials and having Keanu Reeves talk about how breathtaking the freaking city is when it's not done? This is probably one of the most interesting aspects to it, is because all of us have worked bad jobs. All of us have been in times where you're trying to do something and your boss is rushing you and you keep trying to tell him, bro, we're just not ready. Like if you're working at freaking Subway, Eat Fresh, I'm just joking around. I love Subway. If they tried to tell you that you had to rush out a bunch of sandwiches and the ingredients were raw, of course people are going to get sick. This is bad freaking management. And the fact that their only freaking thing is, we'll take responsibility, but we don't need responsibility. We need the game to be done. Imagine this freaking game. It's just got freaking shipping stickers slapped on it, thrown out the freaking door, and basically the developers are now sitting there weathering the flack for what is definitely a purely management issue. Now here's the other part of it. Another developer asked whether CD Projekt Red's directors felt hypocritical to make a game about corporate exploitation while expecting their employees to work overtime, because there have been some reports that some of the people working on this game have now been doing months of 100-hour weeks, just pretty much living at the office to get the game as playable as possible, and they still had to release it in such a broken state. Let's just say this: Cyberpunk is broken. It's completely in a devastatingly shattered state. But the biggest worry I have is the fact that the developers are just getting treated like crap. Like, the developers are trying to finish this game. It's stupid managers at the top who hate you, who hate me, but absolutely love money. They just said, well, it needs to be on store shelves by Christmas, so I don't care how freaking messed up it is. And the reason we know this is because of this. I am very, very fascinated. So this just came out. This is completely breaking news. CD Projekt Red boss likes tweets criticizing Sony for removing Cyberpunk. So I want to take a look at Adam Badowski. Now, Badowski seems a little bit like a baditch. He's a real freaking piece of crap. He's totally just trying to rush this game out. He wants to screw you over, and he doesn't even care what it costs. But can we just say for a second how freaking ridiculous it is? If you're the head of a company, if you're a boss, I feel like you need to try and be responsible for your statements. You need to realize that your social media actions, people see that. If you're liking tweets that says, fuck the police or whatever, like, people are going to see that. Excuse my French. But this is crazy to me. I want to read the tweets he liked. Here we go here. So basically, Badowski, who's the CD Projekt Red's game director, liked a total of 7 replies to Sony's announcement that Cyberpunk had been pulled from the PlayStation Store and full refunds were being offered. Sony announced the unexpected move on Friday following a turbulent week of CD Projekt Red-centered criticism. You know, the craziest part about this is the fact that it has been a week. This has got to be one of the freaking most insane weeks in all of gaming. The fact that this game has been hyped up for 8 years. There's been so many developer talks. There's been so much freaking conversation. There's been so much just hype building around this game, only for it to come out and suck for a lot of players is an interesting freaking experience. But now the fact that the developer themselves, the fact that the director is just basically saying, screw you guys. Here, can I make this image bigger? Here we go. So taking a look at these tweets themselves that he liked, it's interesting to me that he's only liked 445 tweets. I feel like this is actually a statement about the fact that clearly he feels very, very strongly about this. And even the ones that are kind of nice here are still saying that the game is super buggy. There will always be bugs, but I do agree that Cyberpunk deserves to be a refund. Okay, cool. Yeah, I requested a refund from Microsoft. They approved it within minutes. Here we go. It just shows that people are complaining and that Sony doesn't want trouble. Oh my gosh, this is so cringe. Look, all right, you know what? I've had people coming at me. I'm not going to complain about haters. Whatever, I don't give a crap about haters. I've had so many people, I mean, super offended. People who are straight up triggered about the fact that I've been dragging Cyberpunk. I've had people actually coming at me on Twitter being like, oh my god, DreamcastGuy, give it a rest. The game is actually a masterpiece. This game ain't a masterpiece. I say this as a person who bought the $250 collector's edition. In fact, so I still have, this is my $250 V statue. Look at that. I bought the most expensive version of the game. I feel like I am allowed to criticize what I purchased. I paid for the game. If I want to say it sucks, if I want to make a montage of every exploding car and crazy glitch, guess what? That's my free speech, baby. So if you're mad about me not liking the game, that sounds like a you problem. But going back to these tweets, this is one of the most interesting ones, which is this one right here. Avengers came out worse state than Cyberpunk, and you guys did nothing. Avengers is effectively dead on all platforms, making online play non-existent. On top of bad code, where are all those people's refunds? They're next, right? Someone is legitimately trying to say that, okay, look, Avengers sucked. Avengers was glitchy, but I could beat it. I actually finished Avengers pretty easily in one sitting. I sat down, I finished the entire game, I leveled up my characters, and then I went online and played a bunch. You know, I did a big review. I still think that this is one of the worst games of the year. I mean, the problem with Play Avengers was the potential more than anything. It was that the game should have been a lot better, and it was pretty mediocre. But I think we can all agree that as boring as Avengers was, at least it was a semi-finished product. It was a game that tried to have its features, it had its characters. If I wanted to try and be Iron Man and shoot laser beams out of my hand, it didn't freaking fire mustard out. There wasn't like ketchup geysering out. Because let's face it, if they tried to make a game as big and as ambitious as freaking the crappy Avengers game was, CD Projekt Red would have had the worst freaking experience. I think we can all agree that as bad as Avengers was, and let's face it, it certainly was a mediocre experience, it was in a much more finalized state than Cyberpunk, which is still basically months from full release. But let's just keep reading here. I can't believe I'm having to defend... I have to say good things about Avengers to actually dismantle this. What kind of freaking parallel, bizarro world am I in right now? But let's take a look at this. Pulling the game from the store, that's a cute, I'm angry at a couple of refunds policy. The game works, but this has been blown way out of proportion by media needing some clicks. These people... I cannot believe that there are so many Cyberpunk defenders. I wish I could go through this guy's freaking tweets, because I guarantee you this guy is probably just sitting there all day long loving on Cyberpunk. And I bet the people who love Cyberpunk the most are the people playing it on PC. Those guys, I see those guys, they're still having some glitches, but at least the game looks good, the game plays well, the game has full streets and actual freaking people and pedestrians and stuff. That game looks pretty playable. The PlayStation version, Sony was completely right to pull it. I'll keep saying this, I know some people think that it's dramatic. Pulling the game right now was absolutely the right move. Giving full refunds was absolutely the right move. This clearly shows that the guy, Badowski, is mad that we are asking for a finalized product. This has got to be one of the most flagrant disregards and disrespect from a developer I have ever seen. He's basically saying that he is upset that people are giving him some very deserved criticism. People are just saying, hi, I bought the game, damn, I sure wish I could play that game, and that's it. But what's the solution? Is there an answer to this problem? In my opinion, Cyberpunk needs the No Man's Sky treatment. Now, this is going to be controversial, and some people are going to get mad at me. I did not like No Man's Sky for a long time. I thought it was kind of interesting at launch. I played it for a bit, then I stepped away for a year, but each of the major update patches, I've come back and I check it out. And now, No Man's Sky is truly a 10 out of 10 game. I've never said that before, but they have managed to completely improve this. And one of the things I think was the most smart freaking move was the fact that they stepped away from the public eye. I'm not happy about this Cyberpunk thing. In fact, I still think that this is just one of the biggest freaking dumpster fires ever made. But now they just need to make things right. We already freaking spent our money. We already wasted $60, $100. I've spent $250 on the freaking game. Well, I guess more than that because I have it on multiple consoles. Where is the correct path? Fix the game. Make things right. I'm not asking for you to just churn out things instantaneously. I'm not asking you to wave a magic wand and make every single bug disappear. I'm just saying, if you want to win back any favor ever, you need to make things better and maybe give us a little bit of chance to breathe. Stop making these terrible freaking apologies. Stop liking tweets that basically tell people to shut up. You guys suck, and you just keep making big PR blunders. The biggest secret when you make a mistake is zip your lips, take a deep breath, and analyze your next move. Right now, all eyes are on you. Stop coming out on stage with your hat in your hand and acting like this is somebody else's problem. You guys are the ones that completely messed up. Not us, not the consumers, not the gamers, not Sony, not Microsoft. You and you alone. Fix it. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. This is probably going to be my last time talking about Cyberpunk unless they manage to screw things up all over again. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, man. I kind of want to, God, I keep thinking about the Cyberpunk multiplayer. That's going to be a whole separate mess. Cyberpunk multiplayer is probably years away, but oh god, that's going to be a mess too, I guarantee it. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.